Hey everybody, my name is Sam Kwak, one of the Kwak Brothers, and I'm a real house flipper and a landlord, and today I'm going to give you my video reaction to an episode of HGTV Flip or Flop. All the things you watch on TV real, or is it all made up just for entertainment purposes? So I'm going to give you my comment and feedback to an episode of Flip or Flop. Now, I started my business back in 2015, 2016, buying rental properties as well as flipping houses. So I flipped several houses. I have several rental properties today. In one particular year, we bought 75 rental doors, which means that we had 75 tenants paying us rent. And today, my brother and I have a private equity company, which means that we raise money to buy apartments, office complexes, and even storage units that we buy as our profit model. I've seen worst of the worst homes before, to the point where I had to wear a mask and a full-on hazmat suit, and homes that all we need to do was slap a new coat of paint and we were ready to go. So we're gonna take a look at the episode of HGTV's Flip or Flop through the lens of my experience and my background as a real-life house flipper and a landlord. Okay, here we go.
Flipping houses is a risky business.
Yes, it is.
I'm Tori.
And I'm Christina. This is our worst buy yet.
We buy the ugliest, wow, the nastiest, the most rundown houses that we can find. Oh my God.
And we transform them into beautiful homes every buyer dreams of.
We pay for these houses in cash, sometimes sight unseen.
So what sight unseen basically means is that they're buying these homes without even taking a look at it. They usually look at a picture or they don't even go to the property and they buy it. I rarely do this mainly because I want to see all the risk. I want to see what's wrong with the property. I need to get a mental idea as far as what it would cost me to either renovate or even redo the entire property. I rarely do or buy property sight unseen. I have to go see it. Judging that these guys are TV stars, they probably just buy and they can probably lose the money because a lot of times they get paid on ads and sponsorships. So here we go.
So I got an interesting lead this morning. This guy emailed me. He has a house that's in Palos Verdes. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, like 1,700 square feet. He's asking $925 for it. I did run the comps. It comps out like 1.2 to 1.3.
It's 1,700 square feet and it comps out at 1.2.
So what a comp is basically is we take a look at other homes just like the home that we're looking at to see how much it was sold for. So we want to look at square footages. We want to look at bedroom, bathroom counts. Places like in California, I imagine, does it have a pool or does it not have a pool? Locations matter. And California market is typically sensitive to little things. So yeah, you can get varying prices in California markets. I primarily flipped a lot of my homes in Illinois, where there's less sensitivity to value. So we'll continue to see what's going on here. Beautiful place, by the way.
Amazing.
It's on the ocean, and it's like some of the most expensive real estate in California.
So we've never done a flip here, but to me, like, I feel like it's kind of gonna be like a flip we would do like in Laguna Beach by our house, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like high-end materials, not like your typical flip. Okay.
So this is our street.
All the windows are closed up.
Is anyone home? Yeah, there's a car in the driveway.
Ooh, a driveway.
Driveway?
By the way, a house like that in Illinois will not cost $1.2 million, let alone $925,000. That will probably go for in the mid hundreds, depending on the area in Illinois. If you're in the rural area, that's definitely in the sub 50s and 60s. Even if you're within the metropolitan area of Chicago, that's low 200s, again, depending on the neighborhood, but no way it's gonna be near $1 million for sure.
Probably gonna be an expensive remodel. I mean, it's definitely a big risk.
I think because of that, we offer a little bit less than $925.
Want to start at $875?
I don't think it's offensive. I think it's close enough to where they might look at the offer.
Yeah, it's still a lot of money.
You never know. Maybe they say yes.
Hello?
Hey, this is Tarek. We're at your property in Palos Verdes.
What do you think?
Definitely needs a lot of work. I know you're asking $925, but what we can do is come in at $875 and we can close quick.
875, it just sounds a little bit low, especially for the area.
Okay, you want to give me 1 second? You want to make a deal and just tell them 900?
By the way, I don't make offers verbally. I usually just send them an offer written. A lot of times, if you have a real estate agent, you won't even do verbal offers. Yeah, you'll do verbal with your agent, but your agent will most likely put it in a real estate contract and submit it to the seller. And usually the seller either counters or signs off on the offer. Now, which you'll have what's called an executive copy or executed copy of the contract.
You want 925, we're at 875, so why don't we meet in the middle and go 900?
Can I think about it and call you back?
So right now, all this might be just for a show, right? Obviously for entertainment purposes, but this is all done in a very boring way. It's honestly, it just goes back, emails are back and forth. That's usually how it works.
Next day, the seller accepted our $900,000 offer. This house is ours. That's a huge price for a fixer, but it is Rancho Palos Verdes. With comps up to 1.3, if we spend the money to do this,
What happened to the closing process? So magically, they own the property the right next day, and there's no closing process. Usually, there's even if you are paying cash, it may take 1 or 2 weeks, depending on, of course, how you're running it through title. But I mean, I've closed something as fast as 7 days, but nowhere near next day, and that doesn't really happen.
Original. Big room here. We have a fireplace.
Wait, didn't they say they had a tenant? Where did the tenant go? They just magically disappeared. The tenant just like kapoof, right? So obviously this took several months or even weeks to have completed. Tenants don't usually move on the whim, especially in California. They at least need 30-day notice. Some states require 60-day notice, which means that the tenants have the right to stay there for 30 days until they can obviously find the next place, or even up to 60 days depending on the state law. So for the purpose of entertainment, this obviously has to happen right away.
Oh, look at this kitchen.
Nah, that's a major rehab.
Remove the wall.
Gotta remove the wall.
Oh, I know. There's a lot we can do here because we can actually spend money. I might be wrong on my numbers. I figured about $100,000 at the most for this house.
A lot of outdated stuff.
20.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep looking. Hopefully there's a master.
Now, the estimates that they're throwing it out, they're not too far off from what I would estimate. I mean, this is just a video. I would have to actually go and physically look. But where your cost is mainly going to be is in labor. So depending on what area you're in, labor prices may change. So these are your contractors, carpenters, your painters. They're going to all charge different amounts depending on what area you're in, what type of market they're in. So not too far off from what I would think. Usually I would walk in with a contractor and they'll give me a bid, a quote on the spot. They talked about moving walls. I try not to move walls because the moment you move walls, at least where I used to flip houses, is you have to get a permit because now you're talking about electrical work. There might be plumbing issues. So now you need to get an electrical permit and plumbing permit, which costs way off, more money than the original plan. And plus, there are a lot of red tapes depending on the cities where you go to, meaning you have to wait for the permit to happen. So it's a bigger process. The moment you start moving walls or tearing down walls, big money when it comes to the bid. So I generally don't try to move walls. I try to work with the existing walls. But if I know if I can spend $25,000 or $30,000 in demolishing the wall or moving the wall, but I can get $50,000 back in value, then yeah, that's a good return on investment. So, but if there's no financial benefit of moving walls or tearing down walls, I don't do it. This is a business, right? I need to make money. So just because it looks great, I don't necessarily make a decision on what looks just great. It has to have a financial reason for it.
No, I'm excited. After seeing it, this is gonna be amazing.
But a more than 100 grand might be too low. So we need to get Izzy out here right away to give us a bid.
Yeah, there you go. So you got a contractor to give you a bid. That's what you should have done in the beginning, by the way.
Wow, there's a lot of work right there. 1 to 110?
230,000.
Yeah, that's a mistake a lot of people make. Everyone underestimates the repair cost. Everybody. This is a rookie mistake. Is you look at a house and you're like, it only costs $50,000 to repair this. No, usually you're underestimating. So as a flipper, I always try to overestimate and even add more cost if I need to because I don't want to be over budget from what my estimates are. But this is a pretty typical rookie mistake I see quite a bit with some of the newer
$30,000 to do an 1,800 square foot house.
First, you want to take out the load-bearing walls in the kitchen and in the living room. That's a huge cost.
Yeah, walls cost a lot.
$10,000.
So we're up to 250 grand.
High-end area, buyers, they're gonna love it.
So what they've done is what's called a scope creep. And what that is, basically they originally had a plan to do something and they're like, oh, let's add this, let's add that. That's called scope creeping and that would obviously increase the budget of your rehab, but also increases the time because obviously you're out of your plan and you're throwing things in there impromptu.
What if we just did a really thick band
Ran it through both the soap dishes all the way around, and then the rest we could do 8x10 of Kerr marble. And I think we should do it in both bathrooms.
It's gonna be more money though, another $2,000.
More scope creeping.
We're over 250 grand right now.
I think in this area, that's, you know, what buyers
So
want
you
to
got to
see.
be careful with that. You can't justify going, hey, the buyers want this. Okay, and so that's important. You gotta separate what you want from your personal perception of value and what the buyers actually want to see, and you justify that through what the realtors say about what buyers want. Because a lot of times, realtors, brokers, and agents they're out there selling homes and looking at homes, and they know what's hot and what sells in the area. So you don't just go in and say, I think I want a marble floor because I think that's what the buyers want. Well, you got to have substantial evidence that's what the buyers want by having a third party, of course, professional opinion from a broker. So you never, ever, ever do that and say, you know what, I think I want to add this and just throw it in there. That would definitely throw your scope out the window, and you want to stick to the plan. That's part of the discipline of being in this business is that, yeah, you have that temptation of keep on increasing the budget to add things in there, but sometimes you gotta stick to your plan and your budget.
Okay.
Hey, how's it going?
You know that artificial turf you wanted in the driveway?
Yes,
Diamond?
my favorite part.
In this neighborhood, there's an association, and the driveway, because it has a pattern with the grass, needs to be reviewed, and they're not meeting for another 3 weeks.
Our opening
Yeah, HOA is going to give you all kinds of trouble if you try to do something creative and fun. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I tried avoiding any homes that have associations, mainly because the associations will be pain in the butt. Because they'll try to inspect, they'll want to inspect what you're doing, your work. They'll have a tight regulations as far as what you can and cannot do. So I try to avoid any homes with associations, mainly because you got more rules to follow.
We paid $900,000 for the house. We put a little over $281,000 into it. That puts us at about $1,181,000. Closing costs when we sell are going to be about $50,000. So the break even here is going to be $1,230,000.
That's crazy.
I think we swing for the fences. We list at $1,399,000. It seems high. It might be high, but after spending $280,000 here, I think we have to try.
I say it's worth a shot.
Yeah, they're close. They're super close. And what they didn't mention also is what's called holding costs, because holding costs are the utility. You still got to pay for the electric, right? You got to pay for the water if you're using any water, that is. And also you got to pay for property taxes, right? So those are things that you have to factor in with your holding costs. And that's something that a lot of beginner flippers and landlords don't factor is the holding costs. And also you got to pay for insurance. You got to pay for a vacant policy, which is often used for properties that are vacant. They don't have anyone living in there. So a lot of things they don't tell you about on TV that happens in kind of behind the scenes. Yeah, so overall, I mean, a lot of things they don't tell you, of course, behind the scene. A lot of boring stuff that happens behind the scene. That actually matters quite a bit. They didn't obviously show you how they analyzed the deal. I would spend quite a bit of time there because you're putting your own money in. A lot of times I have partners and people who invest in my company, and I don't want to let them down. So I have to analyze the deal and make sure that it is profitable, and I don't just go by the whim. This is one of the reasons why I don't buy things on sight unseen. I want to make sure I see the property first. I want to know what it looks like and what sort of scope that we need to get done. And of course, I would have brought a contract from the get-go to get a bid. But overall, is this realistic? Close. I wouldn't say it's totally realistic. Most likely what happened was, because this is TV world, they probably already had a buyer in place, and the buyer kind of decided what they wanted, knowing that these guys are probably famous, so they probably sold it with that idea, which is a good strategy, by the way. Before you even rehab, selling the home first, meaning you find a buyer that's looking for a home in that area, working with that buyer to see, hey, do you want a granite countertop? Do you want hardwood floor? And kind of speccing out to what the buyers want instead of trying to guess. So that's a nice way to do it. It's, you have a guaranteed buyer at the end, but you know what you're gonna build, and you have a set purchase price, and that way you know what it will sell for sure. That's a good strategy to employ. I think that's what they did, but of course, being TV, they don't tell you. But a couple rookie mistakes I've seen, I've kind of commented throughout the video, is that you never go out of the scope. Yes, you are going to be over the budget, but you don't go over the budget with an intention to do so. I usually, again, try to overestimate your budget. It will always cost more. It'll take more time than you intend and plan on. Yes, you may think you can flip the house in 3 months, double it and say 6 months because it almost ends up being close to 6 months. But the rookie mistake I saw was that they were going out of scope. They didn't have any justification as to why they should. I don't do that. That's not a good plan. Even if you think the granite countertop looks good, don't go there. For a profit, $100,000. I think they made close to $100,000, which is not a bad way to go. But you know, for my usual rule is I will at least like to make at least 10% of what the end selling price is. So I would have at least wanted to make $130,000 profit. So with that being said, pretty good. Now, have I been invited to be on TV before for these kinds of shows? Yes, we declined to do so, mainly because there's a lot of liability and risk when it comes to being on TV with these types of shows. Mainly because a lot of times in our business, we don't want to attract unwanted attention when it comes to our flipping business. Although we have a YouTube channel, right? We like to share our stories and strategies and plans and tactics with you guys, but a lot of the behind the scenes, there's a lot of sensitive and private information, so we don't typically want to show that, and also we want to keep our competitive edge. So we've been invited by several companies. I can't name companies because I signed a lot of NDAs, but we have invited by pretty big companies and networks to be part of a show, but we never formally accepted them, mainly because we want to protect ourselves. So do I think this is all real? Part of it, I believe it's made up. A lot of entertainment, right? A lot of, what should I say, scripting, right? But I mean, it's fun to watch it, right? But just know that it's not all real, right? Stuff like this doesn't happen 100% of the time. So that's my reaction to it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to learn and how to go about investing in real estate yourself, whether you want to flip homes or you want to buy rental properties, be sure to subscribe and also hit the bell notification icon, because if you don't get notified when we release these awesome videos. So definitely check out some of the other videos. I'll see you guys in other videos as well. Take care.